All right, we'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is citizens input. If there's anyone that would wish to address the board, please come forward. We don't have any delegations, right? So I guess we're on to additions and deletions. If there's no changes, we got a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Sorry.
In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Minutes. Motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Next item is the approval of the financial reports. I had a couple questions. I was wondering if you could expand on page 9. There's a $19,000 charge for MC&R pools. Just wondering what that was for.
That was for, and I've got that in my report, but I'll just tell you now, that was for our new hot tub system, all the, I don't know what you want to call it, the guts to it. That was like 30 years old, so we replaced all the plumbing and everything in there and the new heater and stuff like that. So it was $19,000 for that, and it was another about $3,000 to have Muth Electric come and get that wired up.
And then probably for you too, there's $27,500 for Northern Plains Fitness.
Yep, that was the first half. We just got, last Thursday, we got in our new equipment. We got new treadmills, some ellipticals, we've got some weights, things like that. That was the first half of the payment that we paid in January, and then we just submitted the second half of the payment here this week. So.
On page 25, there's some $32,000 for CMB.
That would be for our new mower for the parks that we mowed the parks with.
If anybody else has some questions, please ask now. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report. We have a motion to approve the financial reports. Second? No second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Any abstentions? Good. Okay. All right, department reports.
I can start. So as far as programs go, we wrapped up our 5th and 6th grade travel league, our girls travel league back in February, middle of February. Our co-ed volleyball league wraps up this Sunday. Our youth wrestling goes till the end of March when the state tournament gets over out in Rapid. And then our men's basketball league will run through the first week of April. So those are what we have for programs going on right now. We are, like I said last month, we're just about done with the summer brochure. We're going to turn it in for tomorrow for one last change, for any changes that we've had here in the last month, and then we'll probably get one more look at it the beginning of next week, and then it'll be shipped off, I think, the 17th of March to get printed. So, and that'll come out April 6th. It'll go out to the schools. So registration will start April 17th. So that's what we have for programs. Most of our summer staff is hired for the most part, besides lifeguards. We're in dire need of some lifeguards. So if you know of anybody that's looking for a good summer job or year-round job, we've got lifeguard positions available for them, so they can get all the, and training. We will get them trained as well. So as far as the rec center goes, as far as the pool goes, we're still on track to open up around that April 3rd time. We got the pools filled up on, or the second pool filled up on the 3rd of March, and then it takes 30 days to cure in there. They do have to come back next week and work on one thing, but that shouldn't hold back us opening on the 3rd, hopefully. That's a tentative date, but it's a pretty solid date that we're hoping anyway. So last Saturday we hosted the Rob Marchand Memorial Basketball Tournament that we've done for 30-some years now. Dakota Wesleyan, Jason Christensen and his team help us out with the officials, and he lines up a lot of other adults and certified officials as well. And we had 52 teams this year, which is the most we've had in a long time. So we had good weather, so good turnout. So it was a really good tournament. And I also want to thank Jocko down at Harv's Sports Shop for donating the champion shirts. He's done that every year. We've had that tournament as well, so I want to thank them too. So the old pool remodel is coming along really good. They've got a lot of the steel frames up for the sheetrock. They're still waiting on some steel for something. I don't know what it's for, but it has to do with taking out that wall for the opening. When we do that, they're thinking it's going to be within the next couple weeks. It keeps getting pushed back, but we'll have that hallway between the two buildings, or between the front and the back half, will be closed down for about a week while they take that wall out and shore that up. So that'll really make it look like it's going to look eventually once we get that wall open. That'll be nice. So. But they're doing a lot of the prep work for that, and we'll also be shutting down the back gym the middle of April through the middle of May, because they're going to have to do some of the HVAC work before the system comes in. They've got a lot of stuff they've got to do, and they've got to put down plywood on the floor, throughout the whole floor, so they can get their machines on it and stuff, and they can't take it up and every night and put it back down. So we're basically going to have to shut that gym down, which is the best. There's never a good time to shut that gym down, but it's the best time to shut it down will be during that month. So, yeah. Any questions?
What are your days and hours going to be for open swimming? Do you know yet?
Not quite yet. We're still. I mean, we're planning on regular hours unless we have. I mean, she doesn't have very many. We lost about 10 guards, and so. We're getting a few in slowly, and she's planning on doing a training towards the end of March. And so, it's going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, it's going to be nice by the time we open. So it's going to be a slower time anyway, but the weekdays are usually fairly slow during the school year anyway. And so if we have to go down to 3 days a week for that, but then make sure we're open on the Saturdays and Sundays when it's normally busy, we'll do that. So, and even if it's a case where we're going to try and be open all 7 days, there just might be certain areas of the pool that might be shut down depending on how many guards we have. So, yep. If you talking about the hot tub too, that we put in all that stuff. If you guys get any complaints that people are saying the hot tub's not as warm as it used to be, the new heater has a digital reading on it, and it's set for 104 and will not go above that. which is the national standard, so it will not go above that. And we always thought the old one was set at 104, because it was a dial one, an old one that you couldn't necessarily read, so I'm guessing we were maybe a little hotter than it should have been for a few years, but, so it's actually set at 104 if you do get some, we've had a few people mention it to us, so.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Okay, been doing a lot of snow removal again this month, or past month. Fixing equipment, one of our snow blowers went down. We actually got that back up and going yesterday. Doing maintenance and repairs on other equipment, getting ready for the summertime, cleaning, organizing around the shops and buildings. Working on some dumpsters. We had some that are bombs are kind of rusted out where we cut them up, put new metal on, or to patch them up. Helping with street department with snow removal whenever they need help yet. Like we already talked about, we ordered our new front mower for mowing the parks. Two of my staff had to renew their commercial applicator's license for spraying. Just been working on cutting, splitting firewood when we can, when the days are nice out and temps are above freezing. And other than that, just cleaned and winterized the Sportsman's Club after that Elks Kids Ice Fishing Tournament that was held out there last month. Any questions?
Thanks, Steve.
At the Ice Arena, we're done with all of our games that we host until the Men's League Tournament, April 14th through 16th. All the teams that have gone through their state tournament, they started their drop hockey, which is pretty much if you had 3 practices a week, you drop down to 2, you drop down to 1, and it's kind of a volunteer thing. But I think they're still having good numbers. I was just there, and there's probably 10 of the 8U team that was there practicing.
Those are still coach-led?
Yep. Yep, the coaches are there, and it's kind of just if the players want to come. But everyone will be doing that starting next week, because the varsity state tournament is this weekend. Figure skating has kind of their end-of-the-year show this Sunday. But they're going to be going until the end of April. Hockey will be done the end of March. So after that April 14th through 16th tournament, if hockey doesn't add anything, we'll be taking that ice out towards the end of that week after that. And then the South Rink will be probably around the first week of May, because our contract for keeping ice up goes through April. Open skate's going pretty good, except during the week's pretty slow. I'll start to look at some numbers, the Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays that were open. Last year we shut that down and just were open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'll just be looking, I think we had $16 yesterday, and Monday was 6 or 8 or something like that. So we're spending more on staff than we're making with people coming to open skate. So I'll just keep an eye on those next couple weeks and maybe shut that down during the week and just be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Rentals doing pretty good, though. We got 12 scheduled for March so far. 2 of them are bumper car rentals. Staff's been doing ice maintenance, cleaning, still a lot of cleaning. There's still people in the rink every day. Working on equipment for the summer. We're about through with all of our mowers. We've just been slowly doing some little repairs, little service that we can do for those. And snow removal. We did have damage to the rink roof in the last snow. Some of the snow came off the north rink and busted off a bunch of vents. We had a bunch of leaking in there because there was holes in the roof. Cheshire came and patched them. They got some of the vents up. There's still a couple that are getting made. One of the sewer vents, Cromer came and fixed that, but fingers crossed insurance will cover that because the estimate is $17,000 to $22,000 for test shears. But talking to HR, that should be able to be covered under insurance for building damage. And we're looking at, I don't really know how to not have that snow come down anymore. We're looking at maybe heat tape or putting snow guards all the way across the rink and maybe 2 or 3 rows of them. We did have snow guards up above those vents, but it just blew right through them and knocked them all off because it was only right above them. So, I don't know, we have about 76 or 78,000 from last year and actually from the year before for the rink roof, for the leak problem. But I don't really know where to go now, besides $500,000 for a new roof. But we're not going to get that. So we're still looking at that. I'm talking to Joe and Terry about some ideas and Great Plains Roofing and come up with something this summer. So since then, we've had the guys up there with the bucket truck and we've been shoveling off the north rink above where the vents, above where the snow would come down on the vents. So we will probably be doing that again on Monday. And if we still get more snow as of now.
How is your repurposed Olympia coming along?
Good. Right now, we have been using it. It's a little slick on the ice, but I got some new studs to screw in studs that should be here on Monday. And after that, if we feel it's safe, we're going to start using it at nights for practices. But everything else is good on it, pretty much ready to go, but it slides around the corners too much now because those studs are all wore down.
It's not enough to recruit Zamboni driver, Olympia drivers, much less have it be one that's a little bit quicker to drive.
Yeah. And when you get on clean ice, when you go from dirty ice to clean ice and you go around the corner, you can fishtail pretty good if you don't got good studs in there. But that one is 1 year older than our newer one, so it pretty much has the exact same button. So I think it's minimal for one of our seasonal workers to just jump on it and drive it once. It's pretty much the exact same as the other one that they use all the time.
And as a reminder, we picked that one up from Brookings a couple months back, and between Jeremy's staff and street shop staff, we've been able to put the budgeted parts back into it again to make it very usable beyond what we had just gotten rid of.
Yep, we got 10,000 budgeted for it. We bought it for 5, and I believe after, if these studs are the ones that fit, I need to buy a couple more hundred of them. I got 100 of them, but we are at about 2,700 of the other 5,000 to fix it up. So we're doing a lot better than I thought.
Not for a wrap or a paint job.
Oh, well, we got to talk about a wrap. It's got a big B on the front for Brookings on it right now. So, Cadwell, the city council approved the bid for the new press box. They're going to start that after this state tournament, and hopefully by their contract be done before the next state tournament. And then I did set the date for the travel teams meeting. That's going to be March 22nd. 22nd at 6 o'clock at the rec. That's where all the 12 and under teams come and schedule their practice times, and I give them their agreements, and so it's a pretty busy meeting when it comes to scheduling practice times. Any questions for me?
Thanks.
On pools, Kevin gave a nice update on that in terms of what our expectations are in terms of the timing and the things that have been done. I mentioned in my report here that the signage for the baskets for the actual tee box, not tee boxes, but where you, what's it called? Tee-box. It is tee box. Where they start from, it has a little map on it that shows the distance, and it's much different than what would be on a golf course because it shows how the course runs. And it's a very nice concept, and it's going to have a place for a sponsor on it as well on each of these signs. So the individual who's going to pursue those is going to have about a month and a half, 2 months to go out and pursue that, and you'll have them in, and hopefully we'll get these signs ordered, and they'll be here by the concept is ready to go, and we've seen the proof already, so it shouldn't take long once they get all the donations in and to be able to get those ordered in and put up. Snow piles. We've been creative in trying to find more places to put snow. We got asked the question again last week or early this week when we thought there was another potentially 4 to 2 feet of snow coming. And Steve found yet one more place within park property that wouldn't be imposing on any structures or anything, but hopefully we don't have to make use of that. Budget surplus carryover, I submitted a lot of documents over the last couple of weeks, hoping to make use of dollars that we didn't expend last year, that approved budget from 2022, that we can carry forward and put to use in 2023. We'll know more on that come the March 20th council meeting. Pickleball courts grant, we're submitting that to the council as well on March 20th as far as the opportunity, their permission to apply for this grant. So all the documentation that leads up to that, as well as the application, will be completed by that time. There was wage study. I had mentioned that the employees all had to go over their own job descriptions and write out any changes they believe that they've had in what they've been doing. In addition, each of us department heads had about a 1-hour interview with a representative from that company last week, just confirming and going over all of the details related to that. So later this year, they'll have their findings, and we'll see if we have any changes. I suspect we will. That's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the Mitchell Hockey Association request for expenditure for capital improvement funds on electronic door locks for locker rooms.
Yep, this would be out of the same capital improvement fund that we used the retrofit water bottle drinking fountain, which did get ordered, and we should have it next week. Hockey would like to get 7 of the electronic where you punch in the code, or a code to unlock the door, 7 ones with handles and latches, and 5 deadbolt ones. The 7 ones with latches is $1,018.08 plus shipping. The 5 deadbolt ones are $217.55 plus shipping. And Hockey has in there what they have put in in the capital improvement fund, a total of $3,680.35 minus the drinking fountain was $331. So they have $3,348.80 left that they have put into the capital improvement fund. We're still looking at maybe doing the locks from the city where you can unlock them from your computer, but it might be kind of a nightmare if lockers change on a weekend an hour before a game, and this one's scheduled to open and this one's not. So we're still kind of looking at that, but the hockey president's here if you have any questions, or I can answer any questions.
I know what the coaches when the code gets out. Like, who's going to be the responsible party? Just go ahead. Just ask.
I suppose I need to be up here to answer.
Please.
Normally it's, well, before I was president, I was also the tech guy for the association, so yeah, it was a lot of keypads I had to reset, and that was manual. With the electronic ones, it's a lot easier to do, but, battery, it's part of, the process, I guess, so, but, yeah, it's us, we'll do the work, because it's our responsibility. We just give the code to Jeremy, and then, so.
The city guys aren't like the responsible ones having to unlock the doors. It's the us as
Right.
association.
Yep.
Okay. I was curious.
Any other questions? Can we get a motion to approve, or? A motion, second? Second. All those in favor of approving the Mitchell Association request for capital improvement fund to install electronic door locks in locker rooms, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item is a short-term rental contract for the Dakota Riptide.
So we met, Kevin and I, and and Chris met with a few representatives from the swim club back in February, I believe it was. And we tweaked our original agreement for the remainder of this year. They just completed their indoor season last weekend with the state meet, and so they'll be off for a couple weeks, and they're planning on starting up some limited practice time once we open the indoor pool. And so what we've agreed upon for, let's just say, April through May is they're going to be in there 3 days a week for 3 hours, and we will charge them $50 a day. They're probably at around, I think he said 24 to 30 kids right now. That April and May period is when they're going to be in some heavy recruitment time to get some kids back. The ones that didn't go this winter and didn't want to drive to Sioux Falls and Huron, try and get some of those back and recruit some new ones. Hopefully within that time frame, they'll pick up more kids for the summer season. And then for June and July, they'll go back to the 5 days a week. We'll charge them $100 a day. Still do the three lanes and the 3 hours per day. Depending on how many they have, we could tweak that a little bit. And then once that season ends, we will come back in August and renegotiate for the remainder of 2023. And then and I don't know what that looks like yet, kind of depends on where they're at. But then after that, we'll sit down with them because they'll have a good handle on who they'll have, how many kids they'll have for their upcoming winter season, and we'll renegotiate for 2024. So that's basically all we tweaked from the original agreement was these next 4 months.
So anything you see in the highlighting is what was changed?
Yep. And they had looked at this with their board. They agreed upon it. I was supposed to have the signed copy from them by today. I didn't hear back from them, so, but they are in agreement with it. So we'll, if you guys approve this, we'll sign it, and then I'll just bring it to Rob and have him sign it, because they were going to bring me a signed copy for us to sign here, so. Anybody got any questions about what we did, why we did it?
So after the May, it's all going to be reevaluated?
After so from April and May, it's going to be $50 a day, 3 days a week. And then June and July for their summer season, they expect more kids. They're going to go $100 a day. After the summer season?
For the indoor or for the outdoor?
For the indoor. For the indoor. The outdoor is still going to be $10 an hour, yep.
So they're still going to utilize the indoor?
Yeah, because we don't have a lot of time for them to practice outdoors because of the maintenance we have to do and our swimming lessons and stuff like that. So we don't charge them that much to use the outdoor pool. It's $10 per lane, or $10 per hour. And they're only in there maybe 3 hours a day, possibly, a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night. So, but then after the summer season, that's when we're going to renegotiate for September through December.
Any other questions? If there's no more questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the contract.
So I got one more question. So they are guaranteeing they're guaranteeing those days? Like they're gonna have those days, so
Yeah.
3 days?
The May and because he did ask me that earlier in this week. The April and May, they really don't know how many kids they're going to have and what their schedule's going to look like. I'm only guaranteeing them 3 days a week. And they'll pay for the days that, yes, it's the days that they're going to. Now, what that looks like going forward afterwards, then, like in our normal contract, we had it on our schedule, 5 days a week or 6 days a week, that they were in there at this time, so everybody knew that those lanes were taken and they had to pay for that. Right now, we're just going by when they're going to be in there, but it's up to 3 days. They should be getting me a schedule, I would say by late March, when they kind of know how many kids. It's just going to be a limited practice thing, not their whole group and that kind of thing, so. That's why we're giving them a little more of a break during those two months.
It's a rebuild time.
Yeah.
And they have a coach or not?
They have one for the summer, and they do, and this person would take it if they can find, they're currently teaching in another town, trying to get a job in town as a teacher, and then he would be full-time as a teacher and their coach. So, but he is going to be, that person is going to be coaching them this summer for sure.
Are you comfortable with how the scheduling will happen? Like, I mean, are they gonna be able to call and say, yeah, I want it? They're gonna,
No, it'll be a set schedule, because we want to put it up too. So normally in the summertime, they practiced from like 10 o'clock to noon. So I don't know if they're going to need 3 hours, especially that April and May. We'll see. They have up to 3 hours, up to 3 lanes for 3 days. So it'll be a consistent schedule once they know.
that's what I was asking.
Yep.
They won't be able to just call.
No, no, that'd be tough.
Be bad for them too.
Yes. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve.
The motion approved, do we have a second? Second. All those in favor of approving the short-term rental contract with Dakota Riptide, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is meeting discussion. Just looking for times that maybe would work better for everybody.
So we're not looking for doing any action right now, but everything is on the table as far as what we discussed for times.
And I believe the way our bylaws are written, we can set the meeting time at any meeting for the next meeting. We don't have anything locked in. So I just
You are correct.
kind of looking for input so we can make sure we have a quorum every month. What's going to work, or we want to just keep doing it at the end of the meeting. You know, one of my other ideas is if you can't attend the meeting, maybe we need to get a time that'll work for you for next month. If people are speaking.
Why don't I just throw some ideas on the table, since people may be reluctant to bring them forth? Noon hours, what do noon hours look like for people in terms of, would that be available? Chris has already given me a no. Teachers are probably saying it's not going to work for me, and salespeople, that's a tough time of the day too.
Yeah, let's say that. What is that?
Right, and then if you're out of town, what are you going to do?
What is that?
Okay, so that one's out. If we look at other evening meeting options, Mondays we have council every other month, or every other week here.
Golf and Cemetery Board?
Golf and Cemetery Board, we have Mondays as well, so now we got 3 Mondays tied up. We're already on Thursdays. Wednesdays, is it church night? What are
Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of it, aren't they? Realistically.
So,
I can go any night, but
I'm good with either one of those, so.
with Tuesday, Thursday.
Then it used to be the park board meetings were at 7 PM. Then they moved them to 4 PM. And then there was a public outcry that they could not attend meetings.
How many was an outcry?
Well, 4 PM I can't make it.
And
I mean, I
so-
can right now, but
Yeah.
once we hit season, there's
Obviously.
even 6 o'clock's really difficult.
Well, that's dismissing all your work crew too.
Right, yeah, I mean, I leave site early usually to get here, but that's fine. I mean, it's not, once in a while. But 4 would be difficult.
Thursdays for me are best, just a lot of our baseball stuff's Tuesdays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Does later help?
That doesn't really mean, yeah, for practice.
It's, here's the thing, we're running into a situation where 6 PM doesn't seem to be working for a majority of people. And it's getting to the point where it's been brought to the mayor's attention, it's now being brought to the city council's attention because we've gotten to the point where we've had so many missed meetings that we've been looking at putting things on council agenda, which the city council does not want to do that, because if so, then there's no point in having a park board anymore. So they're kind of at the point where we need to figure out a time that works and a day that works. And if it doesn't, then they want people to step down and allow somebody else to come in.
And we've got one new person who will be starting next month.
And we're going to have one person that I'm going to request to be removed from the board, so, because they don't get back to me and they don't
Well,
attend the
it's
meetings.
Thursdays, I think, will not work for that person to continue on. So, and likely we'll have 2 new people starting next month. And it is our hope that Thursdays are going to be very good for those individuals as well.
I guess see what's good for them. I mean, it sounds like in this room, this is fine.
Most times.
Occasionally things come up, yeah.
Well, if we have to move it later to accommodate more people, I'd be okay with that. I know it's,
What does 6:30 AM look like? I mean, just throwing it out there.
right now, it's very tough. I gotta get my kids to school early on Thursday.
I go to work at 6.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What
No,
about
My
7
job's
PM?
long when it's on.
That's what I was wondering about.
Because that's where we originally were at.
Morning 7th, I know, they give you a little more time at night, and, you know, you were just talking about early.
It's fine, it doesn't make any, 6 or 7 doesn't,
Either way,
Whatever.
6 or 7 works for me.
yeah, whatever.
At night, you're saying?
Yes. Yep.
For me, usually if I'm gone, it's not because I'm in town, it's because I'm gone. Like, gone.
And you, if you've got a game night, you're not back till 9 or 10 anyhow, so it's,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Only thing school, like the last one, we had parent-teacher conferences on whatever, Thursday night. So, I mean, not very frequently are school activities on
right.
Thursday nights, but.
And Pat, you don't close up shop till 8 o'clock?
Well, the door says 6 o'clock.
Okay.
It just depends when.
If you have somebody at your desk or walking around a car,
Right, then.
you
then
don't
it's
say,
not
I'm sorry,
6
you've got to leave, you've got your calculator out, and
But the door says 6 o'clock, so that, tonight I might, I used to pick customers, so.
So if we moved it to 7, it might help you.
It might, yeah. I mean, and it should help, but
so anybody who's got young kids, we don't want to conflict with that either, to get all of a sudden you're into the evening meal and getting them ready for beyond that time, but it's whatever's going to work for everybody, for the majority.
Once I get a car there.
So basically, in the morning is like not a chance, and noon doesn't sound like we can figure that out, because most of us don't get lunch. And the best option is sometime in the evening, and Thursday night's our best option. So with that being said, if we look at the total picture, how many people does it work better at 6 o'clock? How many people does it work better at 7 o'clock, you know?
I can do either.
Can I just say, like, the 7 o'clock, I know it used to be at 7 o'clock, and I know a lot of the council stuff was at 7, but they moved it up just because, I think because people coming that want to be in the crowd or whatever, once you get home from work, having to wait another 2 hours to come to a meeting and then sit and wait even longer, that gets to be a long night and they just don't come. You know, like Chris said, if we keep it at 6 o'clock, but then month by month, if people know at that meeting, hey, can we make this one 7 o'clock? Maybe do that kind of thing, but I think every time at 7 o'clock, my opinion, is not a good time.
I was just thinking, if your business closes at 6:30, maybe you'll be between like 6:30 might be all right. That way, at least the doors are locked.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Supposed to be.
Supposedly,
She's there at 6:30, she's on to her second pencil already.
And we close, our business closes at 6:30. So if I have to be there for something, 6:30 is a little bit easier than something. I make it doesn't matter. I'm usually here.
what do you guys think about leaving it at 6 and then moving it when we need to, like month to month? What do you guys think about that?
I'd be okay with it as long as everyone remembered, if you can't make that meeting, maybe forward us what works for you for next month.
She's really good about communicating,
Yeah.
but and even with a reminder saying, hey, remember, we're at 6:30 2 nights from now versus at 6.
Yeah, you are good at that. Thank you. I mean, because it doesn't sound like we got any necessarily better options to make it work. You just gotta find a way.
Do the new people know the time that we meet now? And
The one person?
the one person?
I believe so.
And she didn't see my position.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And that person was recommended by Austin Havlick, who was stepping down. So,
6 o'clock.
So leave it
Thursday.
for now.
Leave it for now. All right. Yes, sir.
You can set your meeting date for next month.
Yep, our next meeting date will be April 13th at 6 o'clock.
15?
I have the 13th. Or did I get the wrong?
No, I just don't know, I didn't hear it right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I had the
yep, 13.
13th.
My ear's playing tricks on me.
That's, all right. With that, I guess the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.